Hello and welcome to Cizzles, the only place to ingest the latest in technology for higher education and related services. I'm your host, Christine Parsons, and tonight I'd like to introduce our guest chef, Dr. Sean Smith, and his son, Nolan. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Hi, Christine. How are you?
Good, good. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Introduce yourself, Nolan.
Well, hello, my name's Nolan. I'm a freshman here at Kansas University. Let's go Jayhawks.
Isn't it Rock Chalk?
Rock Chalk Jayhawks. and this is my father. He is a faculty member at the School of Education.
In the Department of
Special Education.
Okay. And are you going to a basketball game tonight?
I am with some buddies and my support worker, Eric.
So you're about to do some social stuff, aren't you?
Yes, Daddy.
So I think that kind of goes along with the technology we're going to introduce, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what is the technology that you're going to be talking about tonight?
Nolan?
Virtual reality.
Ooh,
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
So a virtual reality project that is out of the University of Kansas that we created for helping individuals with social skill deficits learn all about developing knowledge and acquisition of those social, emotional, or social skill deficits. And so it's something that's free for students, but also we have a part for educators to help facilitate not only practice, but that generalization of those learned social skills in the classroom, hallway, the building, which is always such a challenge for all of us. So, yeah.
So this is available now.
It's available now. And at the end, we'll give a link in terms of my email address, as well as you can get us through CIDDL, and we'll tell you about what's available and what's going to be available. We're continuing to build upon it throughout the academic year. Sure.
And it's cool about virtual reality. They have an Oculus device.
You like the Oculus device?
So it's built for, and this is a demonstration kit. Do you want to put it on? So it goes on an iPad as well as a Chromebook. You got it? But it's also made for, and it's an old one. Some of us that know, you're pretending there you are, you're playing it, aren't you? Okay. It's also for the virtual reality headset. And so this is a development or old one. The rest of them are at the school. I forgot to bring them home. Can we take it off? All right. So
can you explain the difference between using this program on a computer or an iPad and using it in virtual reality?
Sure. And Christine, I should emphasize, because so many of our focus is on what we need to develop amongst our teacher educators. To me, this is taking good social skill interventions and tying it with the technology that's growing in its innovation and what is possible with students, and kind of combining that. And so from a teacher ed perspective, we're using good practice and effective technology and kind of melding it together. A lot of our schools have iPads. A lot of our schools have Google Chromebooks. And so it operates there. So it's a less immersive environment. And I'll give some demonstrations to it. But if they put the Oculus on, which a lot of schools are getting, then they are fully immersive. And as they look around, they would see the entire environment. And Nolan was kind of using his hands, but he would actually have some sticks to operate. And that would allow him to move and interact, touch things and things of that nature in the fully immersive place. Nolan?
And then those of you who find education boring, you can maybe do TV shows or your favorite movies on Oculus.
So if you're finding things boring, you can use the Oculus for other things. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So Nolan, have you used this game that your dad has been working on?
No, I have not.
Oh, yes, you have. You've used it upstairs and you walked into the closet, remember?
Yes, I have, yes.
So when Nolan had the headset on, he's moving around, he's walking down the hallway, and he's literally walking. Next thing you know, he's in the closet. I'm like,
so we have to be safe when we're using those. But tell us, Nolan, a little bit about your experience when you're in the Oculus.
Well, in the Oculus, it's like,
do you feel like you're part of the hallway and all?
It's like reality. It's like you're a part of the hallway, and it's like everything is happening in real life.
So you feel like you're really there.
Right in front of your eyes.
Right in front of your eyes, really there. That's very cool. And you really enjoyed that?
I did, yes. I, I'm really hoping if they come out with the movies and TV shows on the Oculus, I would definitely do it.
That sounds like fun. I think I would do that too, especially if there's anything related to Star Wars. I would be in there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So, Sean, so tell us a little bit more about what kinds of things the program that you're working on will help teachers with.
I think I'm going to share it if I can.
Okay.
And Christine, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. And so although everyone's looking there and saying, Sean, that's not voice, it's VOS or something like that, it stands for Virtual Reality Opportunities to Implement Social Skills. We call it VOICE. And so VOICE itself, of course, in today's reality with social skills, it's as we mentioned before, it's create experiences to help individuals develop social skills. Now, imagine people tuning in today are not saying, why social skills? Because, of course, the pandemic has really made social emotional social skills really, really relevant in so many different ways. I don't think I need to tell us that to the group. I do want to mention, though, that this is part of a collaborative. And so there's a team here doing it here at the University of Kansas. Some colleagues of mine, Amber Rowland, a doctoral student who just finished up, Georgia Southern now, Adam Carrion, and Maggie Mosier is a doctoral student with us. Another colleague of mine is Bruce Fry at the Syracuse University, another colleague, Justin Ehrlich. So that's our team, as well as some other folks that we've collaborated with schools throughout the country.
Marco and Joby.
Yes. And so one of the things that we've tried to do is we've tried to tie together, which we believe is really, really relevant and growing in teacher education. That is what we're trying to teach practice-wise. That would be, good social skill interventions with evidence-based practices. And that would be things like social narratives, social stories, with the growing technology that can personalize the learning. And so what we've done in terms of VOICE is we've created a curriculum and a learning experience that, as I mentioned before, is really focused on developing that knowledge and acquisition of areas where students tend to struggle. But we also have a teacher part to it, and I'll tell you about that here in just a moment. And so here we go. So we are targeting, and this is what it's available to, primarily middle school students, where that social skill area, really the rubber hits the road. But the reality is we've had elementary students use it. We've had high school students use it. We were just with a group of middle school teachers today, and the teachers were talking about how they had just loaded it on their iPads a couple weeks ago. And one of the teachers was saying, yeah, and like students, I'm not even having them use it. They're on there using it. And then she asked, well, what are you doing? It's like, this is fun. I'm just playing. So it's kind of neat. It's for the middle school students, and for the advisor part is for educators. Anyone that's involved with trying to support that practice, generalization, and learning of social skills interventions. And so we've developed it for them as well. And so we'll talk about both, hopefully if I don't run out of time. So VOICE itself, as I mentioned, is the app, and it sits in the Chrome. It also is in the iPad, and also, as we mentioned, in the Oculus. Now, we're still in development stage. We've been doing a lot of development, a lot of modification as we've been going along. And so not everything's available right now, but that's if folks reach out to us, we'll tell you where it is, what's available, etc. Noel, did you want to say something?
I also use MacBooks and iPads throughout my educational experience.
You definitely have. Now, we've organized this under 10 social skill domains, and each domain has a series of scenarios that teaches specific social skills. And so, as I mentioned before, we target middle schoolers, and it goes across the learning environment: classrooms, gymnasiums, hallways, outside, the bus, etc. And it monitors everything the student does. And so we'll talk about that. Now, the 10 social skill domains that we're focused in on are these areas: everything from self-awareness to advocacy to self-care and safety, and everything in between. Now, remember, these domains have individual scenarios, sometimes up to 25 scenarios, and they might capture over 30 skills inside that domain. So it's fairly thorough. And again, trying to take what we know about good social skill intervention, take what we know about the needs of social skill, and combine them with that technology. Now, I'm going to go into the weeds for just a second. And this is a little bit smaller. And apologize if it's not as visible, but we'll put this up on the Cizzle website as well, the link to this presentation. And this is hyperlinked to the actual resource as well, folks. And we'll put that up there under the Cizzle link as well. But as you can see there, under the domain areas, you'll see that there's like different scenarios, like self-awareness has 25 scenarios. Relationship skills has 22 scenarios. And so each scenario is an experience the student walks through. And I'll give you a video clip of it in just a second. Now, with that, every scenario, and this is really, really busy, folks, and I appreciate that. But what we're trying to visualize here is that each scenario, so for example, cooperating with others when appropriate is scenario 4 under relationship skills, which is one of the domains. It covers skill 1 to 6, and then 5 other skills. Now you're like, what number does that mean, Sean? Well, that's part of our 180 plus database, and teachers would know that, et cetera, et cetera. So
I love relationships.
You love relationships. You do. And then, of course, what we created these things from, these social skill domains, and we identify the domains and we identify the scenarios from assessments that are out there that, of course, assess for social skills. And we looked at 20 plus and looked at the primary areas, the dependent measures, the items, and did an analysis there. And again, I know you guys can't see this, but later on, when you get off the video and you take a look at the link for the Google slide, you'll see there's a process we followed with educators, experts, as well as what's out there in the field to determine the domains and the subsequent scenarios. So a lot of stuff to say, and I'm sorry, the scholar inside me says, it's just not technology, it's based on good practice and solid evidence. And I think that's what we need to be doing more and more with the technology. But let's get into that app because I'm running out of time and we still have to make chicken, don't we, Nolan? So
we have chicken to make.
We have chicken to make, okay? So the big thing I want to emphasize right from the get-go is that this is a perspective. The individual never sees themselves in the scenario. They interact with avatars and they navigate through the variety of environments, but they never see themselves. So it's all through their eyes that they're kind of moving through the environment. And it's all
they have the experience of themselves.
They have the experience as if they are there. And I'll show you a video in just a moment that illustrates that. So yes, they feel as if they're there. As Nolan said, he felt like he was part of the hallway. Mm-hmm. The virtual reality, fully immersive, the individual can, as they move their head, they move around 360. We'll show you in the Chrome or the iPad how they can move around 180 and 360 as well.
And you want to show that now?
Yeah, here we go. Okay. So for example, this is how we pop in. So they would go into an area and then they would select one of the domains. Okay. And then as they pop in, they would go into one of these environments. And of course, see lots of different avatars. And here's an example of them popping into, here's a video of someone in a classroom dealing with an issue.
Before and after class gives you the chance to have small conversations during your day. These conversations are excellent ways of connecting to your classmates and showing that you are friendly. Today, you might need to be the person to start the conversation, as it looks like everyone is doing something else. You want to open a conversation with a topic that is relevant to both you and the people you're talking to. Questions like, how are you? What did you do this weekend? Or are you ready for the test today?
So as they move through, and I'm going to pause this for just a second. So this example had a lot of narrator. It did. Oftentimes it'll be a narrator or they'll interact with an avatar. And those 3 avatars they were purposely kind of being by themselves. And this was trying to have them think about, well, how do you start up a relationship? A conversation. Now they'd be able to respond to this. And as they respond, they would be moved through whether or not that was appropriate, inappropriate, correct, incorrect, etc.
Conversation, your question might be a bit too personal. This might be a better topic to discuss with your close friends.
And then they're given, in this illustration, now that I look at it, I liked it because of the classroom, but the illustration is they're fairly static and they're not interacting with you, the avatar. But you would, if you're walking, I have some other examples. And when you get on our website, you'll see other examples where they're walking in a hallway and someone bumps into them and they need to respond to that. Someone's in front of the locker, they need to respond to that. They're in a classroom, a teacher asks a question, they need to respond to that. And so the responses are similar here, but let me kind of show you a couple of illustrations. So for example, this is the basic infrastructure for here would be a cafeteria. That white, this is a cafeteria actually. Oh. And the white arrow is how they get things started. These gray arrows on the side would be in the iPad or the Chromebook where they basically click on those or touch those and they would be able to look behind them, look side to side. They can look up, they can look down, and then they can respond in a variety of ways. They can respond with audio. They can raise their hand if that's an appropriate response. They can always ask questions and look for help. And then when they are responding to the multiple choice typical, they can hear the question, they can respond to it. But the other aspect here is that the narrator will tell them what was right, what potentially they need to rethink in terms of their response, and then they give it a try again, et cetera, et cetera. So that is, in a nutshell, a very quick nutshell, what it looks like without us actually being inside it. And probably next time we do this, we need to get a pair of headsets on and connect that and let people see it when we're just not focusing on cooking and the VR.
Yeah.
So
well, that sounds like fun.
Yep.
So I have a question. It looks like this would be a really safe way for students to be able to practice interactions that they wouldn't necessarily be able to practice in any other way.
Christine, the whole reason we created this was for that safety aspect and the ability to rinse and repeat in a way. I make a mistake out there in reality a couple times with a practice partner, and that partner is going to be like, I'm kind of done with you.
Yes.
Where I can practice, and not only practice, but I get that guidance right in my ear about why that may have been an inappropriate response. Not so much incorrect, but just inappropriate, or maybe we should be thinking this instead. And, in the old version, when we started it, it was very much like my brother-in-law, who's a Marine Corps pilot. And he would say, we did a lot of simulations to crash and burn, and we learned. Right. And in a way, that's kind of what we, and it's a safe environment to do it. And as I was mentioning, it's also a fun environment. And so the students are actually learning, and our data indicates actually a lot of growth here, but they also say that they're fairly engaged and having a lot of fun. It's kind of a game for them. So
isn't that what we want learning to be?
That's what we want learning to be. Yep.
So I have one more question before we move on to your recipe. And that is, what should higher ed faculty and other related services take away from using this technology? How do they incorporate this into their teacher preparation programs?
Good question. So to me, as we're teaching about, and I do it myself. So when I'm teaching about social emotional development, social skill development, I'm going to talk about a variety of different interventions that I know work. And one will be social narratives or social stories. And easily technology across the spectrum could be integrated in to amplify those stories. And some technology that they could utilize, everything from images to audio to maybe even video, to take it over to video modeling. Now, virtual reality is increasingly becoming available. And that's where they can start using products like ours. And ours is one of several out there, by the way, that can then offer that environment that's much more realistic and much more personalized. And so in a way, it's taking effective practice we're teaching the teachers about and then integrating that technology that can kind of amp it up and take it even further and more independent for the individual. And of course, illustrate that, practice that, so they're comfortable with it as a teacher educator to utilize out with their students. So I hope that kind of connects the dots real quickly.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I think I agree. I think it's important because these teachers are going to be using these technologies once they get out into the field. So they have to start learning about them now. The technology is not something that's in the future. It's here and now, and they need to know what's going on. So yeah, that's excellent. Okay, so now to the very, very important part of our program, and that is, what are you cooking this evening?
So let's not show it yet. Don't show it yet. Okay, tell them what we're cooking, Nolan.
Tonight we're making my favorite meal of all times, chicken McNuggets.
But they're not chicken nuggets. We kind of make them ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So tell them a little bit about what was there, and I'm going to start getting started. Tell them the ingredients, Nolan.
Well, the ingredients at first we have what I call the honey mustard.
Okay, but chicken's the first thing, right?
So the first what my dad is doing now, we are crushing Ritz crackers.
So we have our Ritz crackers. Okay.
Ritz crackers. Okay. So we're going to start
with Ritz crackers. And Nolan, do you want to keep crushing those as I talk about the other parts?
And then we crush.
So go ahead and crush them.
And we have egg yolks too.
Yeah. And so this has been great because, chicken nuggets, first of all, or chicken strips are a very social thing, right? You can have them at football games, basketball games when you're watching them. You can put them into salads, lots of different things. And they're finger food, so they're easy to eat in that way. And also, they're kind of fun to make, and it's a social thing to make them. And so as Nolan was little, this would be a very social thing, and also a fine motor thing, as Nolan's showing.
It was middle school then.
In middle school, you made him as well. So let's roll over these here, okay? Let's roll on those, okay? And it's also fairly basic. So we got some egg yolks, all right? And so we're gonna put some a couple egg yolks. We'll put them in a bowl because we're gonna dip the chicken in that. And we're gonna take a cup of the Ritz crackers.
And plus it's too loud yanking it like that.
Yep. And so we're going to take that. Why don't we go ahead, and we already measured this out. So we're just going to put this in. We're putting this in a pie pan.
Okay.
We want to be able to spread out the crackers so that now we can dip the chicken in there. And we're supposed to put a little bit of seasoning. And so Nolan, well, hold on, Nolan. We're supposed to do it with a little measuring cup, okay? So why don't you get the salt out and the pepper? And so we'll do this real quick, okay?
We also do basting.
And we're gonna do some. We're gonna put some butter on it as well. So we have some onion powder. Why don't you get the garlic, Nolan?
So first we have this.
Yeah.
We have garlic.
Garlic powder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thing.
We have a little pepper.
Pepper and sugar.
Sugar? Is this sugar? What is
No,
this?
I forgot the name of it.
What is it? Can we read?
Salt.
Salt. Okay.
Although
over here, okay.
sugar on your coating of your chicken nuggets, I don't know. We may have
I
to
don't
try
know,
that. That's a new one.
Would Mom like that?
Well, sometimes my mother can cause big deals about things.
Oh, she can. Okay. So I think she's watching this, Nolan. We have to be a little careful here. All right. So Nolan, what are we gonna do? So let's. You want to mix it up with our hands?
He's a baster.
No. Let's just mix it up. So we're gonna mix all those ingredients up. Okay.
Like so.
So he's mixing them up with his hands. There we go. We washed our hands beforehand, right, Nolan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And those who do at home, wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Okay. So now we're gonna do. Is that enough? You want to keep playing? Okay. So now we take a piece of chicken.
It's like a sensory table at the child care.
It's like a sensory table at a child care. Nolan, you want to go in child care, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. So okay. So we're gonna dip this. What they really can't see. So we're gonna
fun
tilt
about
this down, guys, so everyone can see it. Here we
So-
go.
Okay, so that's great.
So
We
go
can
ahead,
see
Nolan.
everything there.
What's fun about this is you get to play with raw meat.
Raw meat. Okay, we gotta watch our hands on that one. Go ahead. So what are you gonna start with?
So first we put it in egg yolk.
Okay.
Okay.
Very yolky and very sticky.
Okay. Now what? What's next?
And then we put it in the Ritz crackers.
And the Ritz
I've
crackers.
never seen that before, Ritz crackers as a breading, but that looks delicious.
Make sure you get the Ritz crackers in there, right?
And
Okay. Now what are we gonna do? We're gonna keep rolling that until.
It's
Let's-
completely covered.
Good boy. Okay, we're
Gonna
gonna do
keep
another
there.
one.
one thing about my father, he talks too much.
I do. Okay, let's do another one. Hold on. Oh, you're missing steps. What's our step? Yeah, Mr. Comedian. Okay. So we got the egg. It's rolled enough. Let's put it in the Ritz again. There we go.
Okay, father.
Okay, son.
Nolan, how often do you eat these? Do you make these and eat them for dinner?
Well, once a week.
Oh,
Okay.
I wish. No, probably not as much. But yeah, we've had these kind of regularly. Especially, we'll cook them up and then we'll make salads with them. So
Yeah.
That's
chicken
a great
salad.
idea.
We're both watching our weight, aren't we, Nolan?
Except my dad gets to.
Okay, let's put another one in here. And then let's do one more. Let's do one more. Okay, and then we'll show them. Oh, your hands are getting all messy, huh?
Yeah, getting messy is really fun.
Okay.
Getting messy can be fun.
So we had 2 eggs, and we kind of whipped them up, right? Mix them up, and then every single time the Ritz always gets a little messy. So let's do that again. And so one more.
Then you never have food fights at home.
Never have food fights. I agree, especially like this. It'd be all messy, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there we go. And so after, why don't you put that third one in there, Nolan? I think that's pretty good. So why don't you wash your hands real quick? So then you put them on a baking dish.
Okay.
Okay. Now, of course, we have more to put in there, but we put them on a baking dish. 375 for about 30 minutes. And then what you'll get is something like this.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Yeah. And the one thing I failed to do, and this is an important part. Nolan didn't catch me because he was off washing his hands like a good boy. Is you take some butter.
Oh, of course.
I'm sorry, young man. My apologies. And we dip the butter and kind of brush it on the chicken.
It's like painting art crafts.
It's like painting art crafts. You're right. Okay, and we're supposed to do that for all of them as well. And then we put it in at about 375 for about 30 minutes.
We have some comments that are saying, great job, guys, and go, Sean and Nolan. Good job. That looks delicious. I think that I might have to make that at this whole Ciddle series. I have all kinds of new recipes that I'm ready to try, and I hope our audience is too. So now you started talking about the social aspect of making these chicken nuggets. Is that how you're relating your recipe to your technology?
The social.
Do you want to add anything?
Well, to me, it's the social aspect of not only making them, because it's pretty simple. And by the way, you can give each person a role in terms of who's going to do the eggs, who's going to do the Ritz, and then of course who's going to do the butter on top, like I missed. The other thing though is it's the type of food that can be served in so many different ways, and
it's also a great Thanksgiving meal to have.
A great Thanksgiving meal, okay, but it's often used at social occasions. Generally, you have those types of things when you invite a bunch of people over for the game, and so
and also for banquets.
Or for banquets. That's right. We've had them for Special Olympics banquets, right?
We made these for my Special Olympics team program.
Yep.
For the our team banquet once a year. And we get to dress up in Christmas gear.
Yeah, that's coming up in a few weeks.
Cool.
Yeah. So yes, that's the social connection to the virtual reality that's tries to teach social skills and social emotional learning.
I have 2 Santa Claus suits.
And Nolan does have the Santa Claus.
So what is your Special Olympics sport that you play?
I play lots of Special Olympics sports.
A lot of different ones?
I do swimming, track and field, softball, soccer with my best friend.
Basketball.
Basketball and all sorts of, and also swimming.
Yeah, so a lot of sports. Yep.
A lot of sports. Hence why you want to go see your team play tonight. So
and bowling as well.
Yeah, new bowling.
Fun.
Yep.
That's excellent. That's excellent. It sounds wonderful. Well, I'm very interested in learning more about the virtual reality. And your chicken is poultry in motion. It looks delicious.
Did you get that? Poultry in motion.
Poultry in motion.
Poultry in motion. There you go. Pretty awesome.
Thank you, Sean and Nolan. And this was such a pleasure. Nolan, it was a pleasure to meet you. Please go to CIDDL.org to find more videos and vote for your favorite chef. This episode concludes season 1 of CIDDL Cizzles, and the voting is really heating up in the kitchen. So if you haven't had a chance, please feel free to go to CIDDL.org. There you can find resources, other events, and also join our community. Our community is a great place to be able to have conversations, not only about our chefs, but other things that are going on in the community. And if you have questions about what we're doing or questions on your own practices, that would be the place to go. So CIDDL.org. We are going to meet in Orlando, Florida in January 2022 for the CEC event. And there you will be able to meet your chefs live and in person if you're able to attend. If you can't, you can still vote on CIDDL.org. But if you are able to go to Orlando, please stop by and see us in the playground, at the exhibit halls, or either at the UCF or KU booth that will be there. So you'll be able to see all your chefs and talk about their technologies and their recipes and maybe a few surprises. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you soon, and maybe we'll have a season 2. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace out.